We are live again. I apologize, we had some technical difficulties. This was Rob's first Facebook Live video and he already broke it. So we're gonna blame it on Rob today. I am Missy at the Reserve at Stony Creek, and I have Rob with the Rob Ellerman team here with me. Rob, can you tell everybody about yourself?
Absolutely. Again,
times two.
This is why that I keep my logo on stuff and not my face, because I break down videos and cameras. And so 1996, let's get back into it. 1996, graduated college in 95, got into the business in 96, straight out of college.
So you're saying you're really old?
Yes, older than you.
Go ahead.
Yes. And ended up over in Overland Park, Kansas to start, and was with another company to begin with, and Jerry Reese gave me a call, recruited me over, and I've been with Reese Nichols ever since. So in the last 18, 19 years, we've grown the team to approximately 60 agents now, and everything's going good. We haven't had a down year yet, so everything we're doing, we continually try to advertise and do things for the agents to make them able to sell houses faster and for more money. So it's been growing, it's been great.
Awesome. Yeah. So where are your other offices at?
So we have 4 offices. We have one in Lee Summit, we have one in Parkville, and we have one in Overland Park. And we just opened our out of the Midwest, Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Oh.
So yeah, we got Jeremy Nelson down there running that for us, and so far it looks like there's going to be some good things out of there. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Now, tell us a little bit more about the team, because I feel like a lot of times you just skip over how fantastic the team is and how, on a national scale, where we rank. Because I think that's an impressive number.
Right. So the team, of course, is fantastic. The numbers are really cool. We are ranked number 19th in the country in transactions. So we did 792 transactions, I believe, last year for about 194 million in volume. This year we're on track to hit, I think, close to 900 transactions, and somewhere between 220 to 240, depending on what rolls over into next year and so forth.
Absolutely.
Million in volume. So yeah, it's really growing, and every year I look at it and think, we probably can't grow much more, and we just keep growing. We've got about a 30% increase right now in volume and about 18% in transactions. So things are going great.
Awesome.
It's a good market to be selling a house.
It is indeed. So this week's video is about selling your house. If you're on the fence, you're kind of confused, you don't know what the process is to go about as far as listing your house. Last week we were with Jim with NASB, and he kind of went over the pre-approval process, so that's why we have Rob here this week to go over the listing process with you guys and just kind of walk you through those steps, so one kind of goes in hand with the other.
Sure.
So can you tell people that are sitting at home thinking about possibly getting their house on the market, maybe what things that they should be doing to their house?
Sure. Of course, you can always have us out first if you want, and we'll come out and say, do this, don't do that, and so forth. But the 2 things that we always talk about, declutter and paint. So if you've got smudges up and down the hallway, stairwells are big for that, definitely you're going to want to paint those walls, because it's just going to make your house look so much better. And then decluttering as far as storage areas, closets, anytime you can make a closet look bigger, get stuff out of it. I think all of us probably need to declutter a little bit anyway, right? I do. So that's the 2 things that I would say that even before we come out and take a look, that you can always do to your house to get a good start.
Now, before having you out, what kinds of paperwork would they need, so that way when you get to their house, you can actually talk numbers with them and stuff?
Sure. Really, we just need a payoff number. So if you call your bank and get your payoff number, that's really the number that we'll use on the net sheet to be able to show you all the fees that are involved in selling, and then get to a net number that way for you.
Now, if you have a realtor come out before you go and talk to Jim, this will help a little bit, I think, just because then when Jim asks you how much you plan on getting out of your house, you can feel confident in the number you give him, and then when he goes to make your monthly payment, it'll help you know on the new house exactly how much you're comfortable spending. Okay, so you're going to meet with somebody at their house.
Okay.
What does that look like when you get there?
Well, each agent has kind of a different process in that. But back when I was going out quite a bit, I would always like to look through the house first and get an idea of what the house looks like, what we need to do to get it on the market. Is there any projects that you should spend money on? Should you not spend money on? So I always like to walk through the house first, and then we sit down and go through, the marketing material, what we do to advertise and try to get the most exposure for your home. And then we get into pricing and numbers and so forth. So that was always my process. But I do know that some people like to sit down, ask questions first, and get a list of things that they see what your needs are, and then they walk through the house and do that. So there's a couple different processes depending on the agent that comes out. Both are great.
Yeah. So you mentioned marketing. What does the team do as far as marketing someone's house?
Sure. One of my things is I've always been frustrated in the industry that I feel like our industry, we put it in MLS and we let it get syndicated to certain sites, and then that's all we do. So I've made it a real point on the team to get as much exposure as possible. So we're continually trying new things. When you hear that print advertising doesn't work, we disagree. We have a lot of print advertising that we can show you where we generate a ton of prospects from. So we continually do print advertising. Of course, we do all the internet stuff, all the syndication. Social media is playing such a huge part today, like Facebook Live videos. Definitely have our team Facebook page that we try to promote. Just everything that's out there we try. We've tried billboards, we've been on TV, we've done everything. And I feel like when we come into your house and say, here's what we're doing, you as a consumer they know what they're doing because we've tried it. We've worked on it for so long, and we're able to say we didn't get any leads from that. So it's a waste of your commission dollar to even be putting it there. Mm-hmm. So I feel like we've got a real good grasp on what we need to be doing to generate leads. So we're able to tell you, here's how many leads come from Zillow, here's how many leads come from Facebook, here's how many leads come from our print magazine, here's the lifestyle magazines, the real estate book, all the different things we do. We're able to show you in true numbers what that means.
So someone has now decided they want to list their house with you. Do you handle staging and taking pictures, or do you have somebody that does that for you? How does that work?
Again, it kind of depends. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times we'll walk into a house and we can tell they've watched HGTV every night for the last month, and their house looks great. It's staged beautifully. So we don't necessarily do anything there. If we feel like some people say, I don't have an eye for that, I'm not good at it, then absolutely we can help. And we can either help with the agent who a lot of times will know staging a little bit, or we'll get a professional in to help as well in certain situations. So yeah, we can. That just depends on the situation.
Mm-hmm. So now the house is active. They've decided to list with you. The house is active. People are coming in and looking at their house. How do you guys give feedback?
Okay, so feedback is generated from the agent that showed the house. So sometimes we are at the mercy of an agent who may not give feedback, but what we do is there's 4 emails that go out to that agent, and then we also make 1 call to that agent for feedback as well. So they get hit up to 5 times for feedback. If they don't get back to us in that 5 times, we feel like we're beating a dead horse a little bit. Yeah. Obviously, they don't have an interest in the property for their client, or they would be reaching out to us. So we try our hardest to get it, and we do. Most agents or co-op agents are really good about giving feedback for the most part. So we're getting that pretty quickly, and that can be emailed, texted. It can be on our Sell My Home site. Which is a private site that the sellers are able to use at Reese Nichols. So feedback is usually pretty swift in most cases.
Yeah. What are you doing behind the scenes while my house is listed?
Besides Facebook Live videos?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Besides that, and that's a given.
Yeah. So I think behind the scenes it's one of the most important things that a consumer doesn't see the agents doing. And different things like, of course, I'm behind the scenes making sure that we're getting the most exposure possible and trying to put your house in the best light in all the different places. But really, even communicating with the co-op agent is so top 3. My client's top 3 choice, one of my top 3 choices. So we're able to go to that agent and say, what's your other 2 choices? And if they'll give us that information, we'll be able to compare the houses side by side and say, hey, here's why we think you should buy our house because of all of this. This is the pluses versus the minuses and everything. So we try to put your house in the best light to the co-op agents. And you don't realize how important that is. We had an agent one time say, this house is the number 3 choice. And so what we did is we said, we'd like to make a reverse offer. And a lot of people don't understand what a reverse offer is. That's the seller actually making an offer to the buyer that showed the house. And so we wrote up a contract, sent it to that person. Keep in mind, this was their 3rd choice of the day. They countered us, we accepted their counter, and they bought their 3rd choice. So for our clients, that probably would have never been sold to that person if we hadn't been behind the scenes making that happen. So I think behind the scenes is very, very important.
Absolutely. So now, while the house is listed, you guys are obviously working very hard for the seller. Is there anything that they're going to have to pay for up front?
We are free up front.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, because I know a lot of people, they have their equity tied up in their house, so.
Yeah, and there are some agents, I think, that charge cancellation fees, and if you're with us and you cancel, then you're going to owe us X dollars and you pay that up front, or you have to pay it at cancellation or something like that. I've pretty much run the business on the fact that, we all want to work together, and if we don't, that's okay. If there's some reason that it didn't work out, then we just go our separate ways. We do spend a lot of money up front on listings, so we do have an investment in those, and our cancellation rates are so extremely thin that works out, fine for us. We can absorb that, over the long haul. So no fees up front for us.
Okay, so just when they go to close on the house, that's when they're gonna have to owe everything.
Yep.
Perfect. Okay, so most people that buy out here in the reserve at Stony Creek, they all have families. So I know a big concern that a lot of sellers have are, I have kids, I have dogs, I have pets, I have life pretty much.
Right.
So how do I go about selling my house when I have all of this craziness going on right now?
Right. So, let's take these in order. So let's go with dogs first.
Okay.
So the dog thing is definitely something that you need to try to figure out a way to either have the dog in a kennel, or best case scenario, have the dog out of the house. We have clients that literally are petrified of dogs, and if they walk into a house and there's a dog loose, they lose it. They don't look at the house. They don't see the bones. And so having a dog in there during a showing is just not a good idea unless it is kenneled for sure.
Same with kitties?
Yeah, I mean.
Are you partial to cats?
I like cats. Is this on live Facebook video? I hope my buddies don't watch this. But I do have a cat, so I have to say I like it or my wife will kill me, right? So with the kids though, what we've always done is we tell people, a lot of times there's toys out that they play with on a daily basis. We always say, get a plastic tub, and then if somebody calls and says we're going to show in an hour, throw all of those toys in the tub, and then throw that tub in the garage. And so you clean up that area really quick. It doesn't, I think people think they have to have it perfectly stacked.
Yeah.
You don't. I mean, you can throw it in the tub and put it in the garage and clean that area up. So definitely don't be there during showings. That's one of your next questions, isn't
it?
Yeah.
It
See,
is.
I'm stealing your thunder.
You are.
I would definitely not be there during showings because you want the client to walk around, and we always say there's a difference between an objection and maybe just a comment. So somebody may say, I'm not buying your house because the closet isn't big enough, period. That's an objection. They may say, well, this closet isn't as big as I would like, but if they sit there and think about it and they have the time to look at it, well, you know what, we could do this and we could do that. This isn't bad. And so that's just a comment that they can overcome themselves. And if you're there, they may just see it, not comment on it, not talk themselves through it, and then leave, and then you never get the chance to let them, make that decision. So.
Perfect. Okay, so now they're going through the process, and how does the new house work into the sale of their house? Because I know a lot of times people are worried about, am I going to have to move twice? How is this going to work? I need the money out of this house in order to move forward on that one. So can you kind of explain that scenario?
Right. So I have to put a disclaimer out there that, there's always different situations and everything, but every day we're selling houses that we coordinate the closing dates to get in to the next house. So, is there a possibility of a double move? It just depends. We'd have to sit down and talk about your situation. Is your house already done? Is it being built? When do we need to put your house on the market? There's lots of things that go into that. So, I would tell people every day we coordinate it to work perfectly. So don't be scared of at least, talking about it and saying, hey, is there a way that we can do this without a double move?
And do you know if builders take contingencies?
What kind of contingencies? So there's a couple contingencies, right? So if you're contingent upon the closing of your house, then the builder will definitely look at that and say, yeah, you've got your house under contract, where are you at in your appraisal process and your inspection process, are all of those taken care of, and they will accept some contingencies on that end. Usually not on just the straight sale of a house, although again, if you have a certain situation, we can talk about different programs that we've ran in the past, like the trade programs and the guaranteed buy programs, which are a little more detailed than the Facebook Live video, but we have ways to work those out to get people in without doing the double move and not have to worry about the contingency. So I guess bottom line is definitely chat with us because there's ways around all of that.
What happens if my house doesn't sell? What are you going to do, Rob?
Well, so put me on the spot on that one. Huh? So again, I think that rolls into the answer that I just gave. There are some other options in terms of trades and guaranteed buys, and there's some extended contingency stuff that we could do, or we could build one from scratch, give you more time to sell your house. Also, this is a good question back for Jim, right? Because there's bridge loans that we can do, which pulls the equity out of your house, that allows you to go ahead and purchase the new house and then continue to try to sell your house. So again, there's all kinds of options, and it really just narrows down to your specific situation for sure.
Okay, so now we've sold the house.
All right, see, that's a better scenario.
It is. Do you have any way for us to move our stuff into the next house?
Yes, we do. We have a fleet of moving trucks. I always say that we don't provide the muscle, but we can provide the transportation. So we have 3 moving vans that we let our clients use free of charge. And that's if you decide you want to go through the task of moving yourself.
Yes.
If not, we have a couple different moving companies that we work with on a close basis, and they help us on that end if you want to pay somebody to actually move your house too. So,
awesome.
So we have different options there as well.
Well, that is the end of the questions I had for you. So
that's it?
I know, right? It's been so quick. So do you have anything else you would say to people who are maybe on the fence about possibly moving and they're just nervous about jumping into this market?
I guess I would probably say you don't know until you sit down with a professional. I mean, come out, see Missy, and let her kind of lead you through the process on this side, on the new, and then she'll get you set up with an agent on the team to be able to help with the other side. But there are so many situations that, I've been working with Summit for a really long time now, and we have done some really cool stuff over the years that people say, well, I can't get into this because of this, and a lot of people say we were magic with numbers. We've even had people ask if it's legal, and we're like, yes, I swear it's legal, but we really can look at your whole situation and figure out a way to make it work for you. I mean, there's a million different situations. You can't come up with one program that fits all. So all of those situations, just come in, chat with us, let's sit down and let's look at it. And if it doesn't work, at least that you've had a couple professionals really sit down, look at it, and try to figure it out. And I would say, maybe this is a little biased towards the team, but if we can't figure it out, it's probably not doable. So we really have just been in it for so long and done so many different deals that we can make it happen for you.
Well, thank you so much.
We can make it happen.
Yeah, right. Thank you so much for being here with us today. And make sure to tune in next Thursday at 12 o'clock. We will have Christy here with Summit Custom Homes, and she will be the next step. So it will be if you've decided on a house and you actually want to move forward on a contract, what that will look like. So tune in, and thanks so much.
Thank you.